1 chase from Clemente. Gallops over. Grabs it, whirls. Here's Rutman coming. The throw. What a throw! He just beat it in.
Babe Ruth is kind of like the greatest baseball player of all time. But there aren't many people left that actually saw him play. For Puerto Ricans, Roberto Clemente is their Babe Ruth.
Appreciate it. As we'll see over the next half hour, the Pittsburgh Pirates right fielder played in the time of Mantle, Mays, and Aaron. And though his career belonged in the same ballpark, he was the one in the shadows.
I want to be a baseball player. This is something that I think about. The more I think about it, I'm convinced that God wants me to play baseball.
He was a tremendous ball player. The reason I think he might have not got the recognition because he was in Pittsburgh.
I can't think of any other player that I've ever played with that had that much pride. He was proud to be Puerto Rican. He was proud to be Roberto Clemente.
He wanted recognition and appreciation, and it came too slowly for him.
I don't think you could have a stronger, more accurate arm from right field. You had to be very, very careful with your turn at first base, because if Clemente would come up throwing, you didn't know whether he was going to throw behind you or in front of you.
He felt it was a form of mockery, or he was being made to look like some kind of exotic character, and he didn't feel like one. He just felt like a man who deserved a certain amount of respect.
You look at his body, my God, nothing could happen to that body. It was like a brand new car that was never driven.
In 1987, Hall of Famer Joe Morgan asked Willie Mays a simple question: who was the best player you ever played with? Mays had shared the field with Hank Aaron, Orlando Cepeda, and countless legends, but his answer shocked everyone. My best player, the guy that I pick, was not my teammate. He was Roberto Clemente. The twist? Mays and Clemente only played together for 1 season in Puerto Rico back in 1954. What Willie said next would reveal why Clemente was not just great. He was something baseball had never seen before. And when you hear what happened when Clemente made an error, you will understand why even his mistakes became legendary. Legendary broadcaster Vin Scully once said something that sounded impossible. Clemente could field the ball in New York and throw out a guy in Pennsylvania. This was not an exaggeration. It was the only way to describe what people witnessed. The greatest example happened in the late 1960s at Forbes Field. The Pirates were playing the Cardinals. There were runners on first and third. Tim McCarver singled to right field. The runner on third scored easily. But then the ball rolled through Clemente's legs. An error. Orlando Cepeda, who was on first, took third base. The ball rolled all the way to the warning track, over 350 feet from home plate. Cepeda saw his chance and broke for home. Clemente picked up the baseball with his back to the plate. He whirled around and threw a strike. No bounce. The ball arrived at home plate like a laser beam. Cepeda was out. The press box went silent. One writer looked around for the oldest baseball observer there, just to confirm what everyone had seen. Clemente had made an error, then made the most remarkable throw anyone had ever witnessed. Years later, Pete Rose tried to describe Ellis Valentine's throwing arm. He said, "They say I cannot throw like Ellis Valentine. Who can?" The highest compliment? Dick Williams, Valentine's manager, had compared his arm to Roberto Clemente. That was the standard. ESPN analyst Tim Kirkchin, who has studied baseball history for decades, put it simply: I believe he had the greatest throwing arm of any outfielder who ever played the game. But Clemente's arm was not the scariest thing about facing him. Larry Bowa, who played shortstop for 16 years, described what happened when Clemente hit the ball. Larry Bowa faced everyone during his career from 1970 to 1985. He saw the best hitters in baseball. But when asked about the hardest hitter he ever faced, Bowa did not hesitate. He hit the ball harder than anyone I ever played against. You could hear it whiz by your ear. This was not about statistics. This was about the raw violence of contact. Clemente's line drives moved like bullets. Shortstops and second basemen feared him most. Juan Marichal was one of the greatest pitchers of the 1960s. His legendary windup dominated hitters across the National League. But Clemente was different. The big thing about Clemente is that he can hit any pitch. I don't mean only strikes. He can hit a ball off his ankles or off his ear. Think about what that means. The fundamental rule of pitching is to make hitters chase bad pitches. Clemente turned bad pitches into base hits. Orlando Cepeda remembered warning Marichal before one game. "Roberto is sick today. He does not feel good. Watch out for him." Marichal laughed. How dangerous could a sick player be? Clemente went 4 for 4. He hit 2 triples and threw someone out from right field. When Marichal asked about it later, Cepeda just smiled. When he was sick, Clemente was still better than healthy players. Clemente had his own philosophy about hitting. It is not a bad ball if I can hit it. He also said, pitch me outside, I will hit 400. Pitch me inside, and you will not find the ball. Modern analytics would hate this approach, but the results speak for themselves. A career average of 317, 4 batting titles. But there was something about Clemente that numbers could never capture. On his first day of spring training in Fort Myers in 1955, 20-year-old Roberto Clemente opened the local newspaper. The headline read, "Puerto Rican hot dog arrives in town." This was how America welcomed him to professional baseball. The treatment never stopped. Writers called him Bob instead of Roberto. They mocked his Puerto Rican accent in print. They portrayed him as a complainer when he played through chronic pain. Clemente refused to accept it. "The farther away you writers stay, the better I like it." You know why? Because you are trying to create a bad image of me. You do it because I am black and Puerto Rican, but I am proud to be Puerto Rican. When writers called him Jake, he corrected them firmly. "They call me Jake. It is Roberto. Roberto Walker Clemente." He did not just fight for himself. He fought for every Latin player who came after him. The Latin American player does not get the recognition he deserves. Neither does the Negro player, unless he does something spectacular, like Willie Mays. We have self-satisfaction, yes, but after the season is over, nobody cares about us. He gave examples. Zoilo Versalles was the American League most valuable player. But how many dinner invitations did he receive? Juan Marichal was one of the greatest pitchers in the game. But did he get invited to banquets? I am an American citizen, but some people act like they think I live in the jungle someplace. The 1960 World Series proved his point. The Pirates won the championship. Clemente hit 314 with 16 home runs and 94 runs batted in. He hit safely in all 7 World Series games. Dick Groat won the Most Valuable Player award with 325, 2 home runs, and 50 runs batted in. Clemente did not receive a single vote. I contributed a lot more to winning the pennant. I also think that a lot of the writers were moved by their feelings about race. He was not wrong. But the baseball world was watching, and some of the greatest players ever were taking notes. Remember what Willie Mays said at the beginning? There is more to that story. When Mays was asked to name the best player he ever saw, he said something revealing. "I think I was the best ball player I have ever seen. I feel nobody in the world could do what I could do on a baseball field. I hope I am not saying anything wrong. But you have to think you are the best. The next one would be Roberto Clemente. This was Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid. Perhaps the greatest 5-tool player in baseball history. He was acknowledging that Clemente was the closest thing to his level. They had played together in Puerto Rico during the winter of 1954 and 1955. Mays saw him up close. He knew. Clemente returned the respect, but in his own way. Willie Mays is the greatest ball player I have ever seen. I never saw Joe DiMaggio play, but if Joe DiMaggio was better than Willie Mays, he belongs in heaven. Then he added, with quiet confidence, I can go get the ball like Willie, and I have a better arm. This was not arrogance. This was self-belief. The respect went beyond Mays. Steve Blass, his teammate with the Pirates, noticed something unusual. He was the one player that players on other teams did not want to miss. They'd run out of the clubhouse to watch him take batting practice. He could make a 10-year veteran act like a 10-year-old kid. Merv Rettenmund of the Baltimore Orioles learned this the hard way. He tagged up from second base on a fly ball to deep right field. I did not think it would even be close. But as he approached third, he saw the third baseman getting ready. I thought, there cannot be a close play here. He was out. Years later, Rettenmund explained it simply. Never forget, it was Roberto Clemente throwing. As the 1970s arrived, Clemente was chasing one final milestone. September 30th, 1972, the last day of the regular season. Roberto Clemente stepped to the plate at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Pirates were playing the New York Mets. John Matlack was pitching. Clemente hit a double to left center field. Hit number 3,000. The crowd erupted. He became only the 11th player in baseball history to reach that milestone. The number was perfect, exactly 3,000. 11 days later, on October 11th, Clemente played his last game. The Pirates lost to the Cincinnati Reds in the National League Championship Series. Nobody knew it would be his final game. At 38 years old, he was thinking about retirement, but he wanted to keep representing the Latino community just a little longer. On December 23, 1972, a massive earthquake struck Nicaragua. Thousands of people lost their lives. Many more lost their homes. Clemente immediately began organizing relief supplies from Puerto Rico. He sent 3 flights to Nicaragua. Then he discovered something that made him angry. The Nicaraguan government was stealing the supplies. The aid was not reaching the people who needed it. Clemente made a decision. I will go myself to make sure it reaches the people. His family and friends begged him not to go. He had a wife and 3 young sons. But Clemente had lived his entire life by one principle. Anytime you have an opportunity to make a difference in this world and you don't, then you are wasting your time on Earth. On New Year's Eve, 1972, Clemente boarded a DC-7 cargo plane. The aircraft was overloaded by 4,000 pounds. It took off from San Juan. 1 mile offshore, the engines failed. The plane went down into the Atlantic Ocean. His body was never recovered. Manny Sanguillen, his teammate and best friend, went out with scuba divers to search. He found nothing but sharks and barracuda. The Baseball Writers Association held an emergency meeting. They voted to waive the mandatory 5-year waiting period. On March 20th, 1973, the results of a special election were announced. Roberto Clemente became the first Latin American player inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. The first Caribbean player in Cooperstown, just months after his passing. The Commissioner's Award was renamed the Roberto Clemente Award. It is still given every year to the player who best demonstrates sportsmanship and community involvement. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn spoke at the ceremony. He gave the term complete a new meaning. He made the word superstar seem inadequate. He had about him the touch of royalty. In 1955, a teenage Orlando Cepeda stepped to the plate for his first at-bat with the Santurce team in Puerto Rico. He went 0 for 3. The young player was devastated. After the game, Roberto Clemente found him. You know what? It will not be the first time you go 0 for 3. It will not be the second time. If you play in the big leagues, someday you will be there. Do not worry about it. There is always tomorrow. Cepeda never forgot those words. And not only to me, to the other kids, to other rookies. He always motivated people. He always went out of his way to help other people. In 1968, before leaving Puerto Rico, Clemente called Cepeda. Orlando, do you want me to bring anything back for you? He was always thinking of others. Dr. Thomas Tutko, the Pirates team psychologist, saw a different side of Clemente. If Clemente were a football player, he would make Ray Nitschke look like a pussycat. Clemente played with chronic back pain his entire career. In 1957, he said, "Some days the pain is so much I think, maybe I quit baseball. But I need money, so I play baseball. He had lost 3 siblings to complications from surgery. He refused to have an operation on his back. The media called him a hypochondriac. He kept playing. He hit over 313 of his 18 seasons. On September 1st, 1971, the Pirates fielded the first all-minority starting lineup in Major League Baseball history. Manager Danny Murtaugh said, "Once a Pirate puts on a uniform, I do not notice the color of his skin." Roberto Clemente made that possible. He opened doors that others walked through. Willie Mays was asked a simple question: who is the best player you ever played with? His answer was Roberto Clemente. Now we know why. It was not just the arm that could throw from New York to Pennsylvania. It was not just hitting balls that whistled past shortstops' ears. It was not just 3,000 hits, 12 gold gloves, and 2 World Series championships. It was everything together and something more. Writer Roger Angell described it best. He played a kind of baseball that none of us had ever seen before, as if it were a form of punishment for everyone else on the field. Pirates general manager Joe L. Brown said, "He grows and grows over time. He does not diminish." 50 years later, that is still true. Every September 15th, Major League Baseball celebrates Roberto Clemente Day. Every player wears number 21. The award bearing his name is the highest honor in baseball. Not for statistics, for character. Clemente wanted to be remembered as a ball player who gave all I had to give. But he was more. He was the first to speak up, the first to demand respect, the first to give his life trying to help others. Baseball's royalty indeed. In the comments, tell us what Roberto Clemente's story hit you the hardest. Share this video with someone who loves baseball history. Check out our video on Willie Mays right here to see more about the Say Hey Kid. Hit that like button to help others discover Clemente's legacy. And subscribe because we uncover the stories behind baseball's greatest legends every week. Thanks for watching.